Welcome to Monetizing Mayberry. In Chapter 1, we introduced the concept of the new small town economy. Through the web, social networks, and other digital advances, it's just as easy for a business to connect with the other side of the world as it is to connect with their next door neighbor. The entire world has been brought to our doorstep. And the way we do business now is the way mom and pop did business in the small town days gone by. In Chapter 2, we documented the diminished value of advertising in the new small town economy. In today's economy, word of mouth and a solid reputation in the community are far more valuable than the resources to push out advertising. In Chapter 3, we laid out the business model for Floyd's Barbershop. Now, Floyd spends time inside the barbershop cutting hair and making money. He also spends time on the bench outside the store, meeting new townspeople and cultivating relationships. Social networks are today's equivalent of a sidewalk park bench. There's a place where we develop connections in our community. In Chapter 4, we learned what not to do in the social networks from Mayberry's deputy, Barney Fife. By developing a strategy and learning how to properly communicate to customers and prospects online, we can avoid turning off our potential customers and shooting ourselves in the foot.
Once we learned how to avoid a catastrophe, we began the path to success. In Chapter 5, we discovered why the people of Mayberry like their lawman, Sheriff Andy Taylor, and how to get our community to like our brand. People embrace Sheriff Taylor for his mission. People will embrace your business for your mission as well. Once you've identified why you do what you do. In Chapter 6, we showed how the social networks are much like Aunt Bee's dinner table. The social networks are a perfect setting for conversation and communication with your audience in the new small town economy. You need a dinner table, not a megaphone. In Chapter 7, we identified the two things we need to engage our customers in conversation and to communicate our business's mission effectively. We need credibility and the endorsements of others. Giving whatever you can to your audience and partnering with other groups in the community who share your purpose will go a long way in building credibility and getting endorsements. Ultimately, what we want is for consumers to identify us by our mission, not as businesses selling widgets, but as an organization trying to accomplish something on behalf of its community. Getting customers to appreciate our low prices or convenient location is nice, but the real win is getting customers to connect with your business and its mission, and then ultimately to become a part of your team. And that's what leads us to Chapter 8, which we've entitled Team Goober.
Goober Pyle and his cousin Gomer, they both ran Wally's filling station in Mayberry, though not at the same time. Goober eventually took over as the owner and the manager once Gomer joined the Marine Corps. Now, Goober Pyle was portrayed on the show as backward and not very bright, but Goober could fix cars. And just as importantly, in the eyes of his friends, Goober's shortcomings were far outweighed by his gentle and generous spirit. Wally's filling station didn't just pump gas. People came to Wally's to get more than gas. They came there for a service experience and a social experience. Goober wouldn't just pump gas for you. He would check your oil. He would wash your windows, put air in your tires. All the while, customers had a chance to catch up with a friend. In one episode, Sheriff Andy Taylor and Floyd the barber actually argued over which one of the two is Goober's best friend. The people of Mayberry supported Wally's filling station because they knew Gomer and Goober. They liked Gomer and Goober, and they trusted Gomer and Goober. Goober's customers didn't just want to do business with Goober. They wanted to see Goober's business succeed. They were invested in Wally's filling station because of their relationship with Goober. People who are invested in the outcome of a business are far more likely to be loyal to the business and more likely to promote it to their friends. We know from previous chapters that having your community promote your business on your behalf is the primary benefit of social marketing. Personal endorsements from friends can't be facilitated through traditional media like they can in the social networks. People are putting far more stock in the recommendations of their friends than in the marketing messages of businesses. If you can get your community on your team, like Goober did, you'll have an invaluable marketing asset. We call these kinds of community members brand advocates. These are simply people who advocate for your brand in their network.
So how do you develop a team of loyal customers? How do you develop these brand advocates? Well, let's start by looking at why people root for your business. Meet Joel. Joel works in our office. He runs Nashville Guitar Store, and he does a fine job. Joel eats at a local restaurant here in Franklin called Frothy Monkey. Joel eats there a lot, actually, almost every day. Not only does Joel like eating there, but he likes telling his friends about eating there. He posts pictures of what he eats and shares them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then he tags Frothy Monkey in those pictures so that everyone will know where that particular dish came from. Joel wants to see Frothy Monkey do well. It makes him happy when he meets other people who enjoy eating there. The food at Frothy Monkey is pretty standard Southern fare: bacon, eggs, pancakes for breakfast, sandwiches, salads for lunch. You get the idea. It's good food, but if you were to put Joel in a blind taste test with many other restaurants in town, it's doubtful he would rank Frothy Monkey as the #1 restaurant. He may not even be able to tell the difference between Frothy Monkey dish and a similar dish from a competitor. But you see, Frothy Monkey is a locally owned restaurant. Joel knows the owner, he knows the manager, he's friends with the staff, they call him by name when he walks in. Frothy Monkey gets a lot of its food from local farmers and growers. Joel likes doing business with people. He likes being a part of a tight-knit community. And he likes knowing that he's supporting the local agriculture business. He wants to see the restaurant succeed because he's invested in the people there. He has a stake in the business because his friends have a stake in the business as well.
Many of you probably have similar businesses that you support, whether it's the mom and pop hardware store owned by your friends from church, or it's the large national bank chain that sponsors your daughter's soccer team. You root for them to succeed because you're invested in the relationships. Look at Harley Davidson. People around the world root for Harley Davidson. You would be hard-pressed to find a better example of brand advocates than a Harley owner. You see, people don't just buy Harley motorcycles, they buy Harley t-shirts and jackets and helmets and bumper stickers. There are Harley clubs, events, and a Harley Davidson museum. Licensing of the Harley Davidson brand and logo accounted for $40 million in 2010. Harley owners identify themselves by the brand of motorcycle they ride. Harley owners aren't just a group of people that ride motorcycles. They're a fraternity. Harley owners recruit their friends to ride Harleys. Harley owners want you to know that they're not just riding a motorcycle, they're riding a Harley. Harley Davidson netted $5.3 billion in revenue in 2011. Yet very rarely do you ever hear about the specific features of a Harley motorcycle. Marketing messages rarely mention CCs or crankshafts or torque. Maybe among the gearheads you would hear these features listed, but the corporate messages are always centered around freedom and rebellion and the Harley fraternity. That's because Harley Davidson doesn't just sell motorcycles. They want to create a community experience for their riders. We've developed several marketing campaigns for Harley Davidson over the years, and the message they want to communicate is always the same. Come be a part of the Harley community. Bring your Harley to the community picnic. Come join us for a group ride. Come take a tour of the showroom.
Those who are already a part of the community want to see that community experience survive and thrive. They want to invite their friends into the community. They identify themselves by the community. Harley owners are invested in Harley the way Joel is invested in Frothy Monkey, and the way Mayberry is invested in Wally's filling station. If Harley and Frothy Monkey and Wally's lose their value, their customers lose something of value. Customers root for these businesses. They become brand advocates, and they encourage their friends to do business where they do business. Your business can create a team of brand advocates just like Goober's, and you can use your online presence to do it. There are two primary ways to develop brand advocates. Number one, humanize your brand. People want to do business with people, not institutions. You know, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
Cheers to that, Matt. But seriously, it seems like an easy principle to grasp, but it actually runs contrary to the modern business mentality, where bigger is better. In the age of push marketing, being a giant corporate enterprise gives brand credibility. If your company was big enough to acquire massive amounts of resources, it was obviously doing something right. Even if your business wasn't a large institution, you wanted to portray it as that in your branding and in your marketing messages. That thinking has changed in recent years. Corporate scandal, mismanagement, and ethical violations have given rise to serious consumer skepticism. No longer are institutions given the benefit of the doubt based on the universal recognition of the brand. On the contrary, the larger the business enterprise becomes, the more skeptical consumers become of a business's motivations. Consumers want to be taken behind the veil. They want to know who the people are behind the business. How are the products made? Who makes them? Who's providing the service? Do I trust those people? Do I like those people? Consumers can't get answers to those questions until the corporate walls come down. What your audience wants is not a dog and pony show. They're too smart for that. What they want is a backstage pass. The backstage pass gives an audience the ultimate behind-the-scenes look at the band. A backstage pass makes the band more accessible, more tangible, more human. But it also makes the band more vulnerable. Fans can see the stars without makeup and without their wardrobe. They can see the stars interacting with friends and family. Fans may end up being disappointed or disillusioned by what they see backstage, but that's rarely the case. Far more often than not, fans develop a tighter bond with the band. Their support for the band typically grows stronger.
Look at the hit show Duck Dynasty. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Duck Dynasty is a reality TV show profiling the Robertson family and their family business, Duck Commander. It was founded by Phil Robertson, and now it's run by sons Willie and Jace Robertson. And the Duck Commander headquarters produces duck calls. The reality show depicts the family as backwoods millionaires living in rural Louisiana. The Duck Commander management team is a dysfunctional bunch of avid outdoorsmen with long beards and bandanas. They often use the workplace for taking naps and playing practical jokes. Duck calls are seldom the focus of the Robertson brothers on any particular episode. But the Robertson family has won over the hearts of millions of viewers over the last 2 years with their strong family ties and faith convictions. The show is the most watched documentary-style reality show on TV, drawing 9.6 million viewers to the season finale. And now for the point of the story. In 2011, the company sold 60,000 duck calls. In 2012, they sold 300,000. They had to open up a gift shop in the warehouse to handle the crowds of people who wanted to visit Duck Commander's headquarters. Showing the human side of your business gives your followers a part of you to connect with. After all, that's what they came to you for. In the social networks is a social relationship. Introduce, profile, and highlight your employees. Post photos of real people and tag them in those photos if you can. Share updates on the things you personally care about. Share your individuality, your quirks, your sense of humor. You can't be all things to all people, but that's really not even what your community is looking for. They just want to know who you are. Showing individualism or personality would seem to lack mass appeal, but the mass appeal approach of decades gone by is no longer appealing to anyone. In today's economy, your business needs to meet specific needs for niche groups. Once those niche groups join your team as brand advocates, they'll take your messages to the masses for you. Coming from them, it will have its appeal.
Step 2 in building your team of brand advocates. Create a community experience around your brand. The trick here is to take the spotlight off yourself for a moment. In order to create a community experience, you must facilitate a connection not just between you and your customer, but between your customer and other customers. Connections between customers could simply come in the form of a conversation on your blog page or Facebook comments section. You must provide the content that brings them together and the platform that allows them to connect. Instead of advertising features of your products or your services, think instead of telling stories that relate to your customers. Paint pictures for your customers of what life is for others who have purchased your product or your services. Anytime you have access to a customer testimonial, a story, or a photo, display it prominently in the networks. Encourage others to submit stories or photos of their own. By taking the spotlight off of yourself and putting it on your customers, you'll develop a platform for others to share their stories and to feel a part of your community. Having customers who feel a part of your community is the first step in developing a successful team, just like Goober. Customers who feel a part of your team can drive your brand further than you ever could on your own. The social networks are an ideal platform to develop members of your community who advocate for your brand among their friends. A team of brand advocates, though, won't create itself. You must leverage both your profile and your platform to encourage customers to take an ownership stake in your business. Be a human. Show the individuality and the personality of your business and its employees, and take the focus off of yourself and put it on your consumers or your customers and your community. Soon, you'll have a team of raving brand advocates just like Goober.